and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, police in one Southern Kentucky town are looking into reports of racist flyers being spread through town. The flyers claim to be from the Ku Klux Klan. It follows similar incidents in other Kentucky towns. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more.
From just a few individual flyers to piles found in driveways and yards, people tell us they are finding flyers that are apparently from the Ku Klux Klan in several Corbin neighborhoods. They talk about being on the lookout for drugs or criminal activity, but people say that the source is very disturbing. Michael Jones says he was walking through his neighborhood yesterday near 5th Street and Lee Avenue when he says he saw a bunch of folded up papers. He says to him they looked like love letters that kids would pass at school, but when he opened it up, he was shocked to discover it was from the KKK. It mentioned Trinity White Knights with a drawing of someone in the Ku Klux Klan outfit and telling people to report crime. Jones was among the many who say this kind of literature is very unwelcome.
Altogether, it's garbage. And I feel like that when they come to our town, if they suggest or even insinuate that they're going to do anything, that they should be escorted out of town.
A spokesperson for Corbin Police tells me that he's not sure if the KKK is actually behind these flyers. Maybe it's just someone who's found them on the internet, printing them off, passing them out, and then trying to stir up trouble. In Corbin, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Corbin's mayor says the flyers were found in apparently just one section of town. However, people in other towns such as Paris and Mount Sterling say similar papers were found there. For several years, the Laurel County Sheriff's Office operated a drug interdiction team to help curb the drug epidemic the area faces. Earlier this year, the Sheriff's Office partnered with the London Police Department to further this mission. Those with the Laurel County Sheriff's Office and London PD say they have seen a significant decrease in the number of drug-related incidents in the area since the task force began.
You know, I would venture to say that 90% of crime is drug-related or relates back to drugs in some manner. Of course, your DUIs, you have, driving under the influence of drugs. Your thefts, people are stealing stuff to take and sell or trade for dope. It is a huge snowball effect. If you could do away with the drugs altogether, the whole crime problem would drastically reduce.
Both the Sheriff's Office and Police Department have designated drug interdiction officers who are funded through the organization called Appalachia High Intensity Drug Trafficking Areas. Kids in one eastern Kentucky county are enjoying a special free camp this week. Camp Noah is a national program that brings camps to areas where kids have experienced a disaster. Kids in Breathitt County who were affected by the flood last year are attending the camp this week. The camp teaches kids resilience and hope through creative activities and play.
One of the ways that we move past where we are is being prepared. Kind of like when you know what's going to happen, you're a little more at ease about it. Hopefully we never have a flood like this again, but if they do have to live through something like this again, they'll be more prepared.
Camp Noah will be hosting kids from Knott, Floyd, Letcher, Pike, and Perry counties in the coming weeks. For more information on those, you can go to our website, WYMT.com. Knott County is hosting its second dump day of the year with hopes of promoting a clean county. The event will take place this Saturday. Chris Ambergy is Knott County's ecology officer and says this event is a good way for people to get rid of some things they don't need.
And dump for free this Saturday, June 17th from 8 to 4, and it's a great day for a county to, just get rid of some stuff that you don't want, and it's free of charge, and it's win-win for everybody. It helps keep your county clean.
Ambergy says they'll have multiple dumpsters to make sure everyone can throw away items. He says tires and building debris cannot be dumped. Coming up at 6, find out about why this is important for Knott County and others doing similar things.
Continues to be a mostly sunny day for many of us, but already starting to see some of those downpours try to pop up throughout the region this afternoon. Here's the view from the Pulaski County side of Lake Cumberland. looking all right. See some folks out in the water. Not a bad afternoon for it, though a little cool for lake activities. Of course, that's up to the beholder. Down into the low 70s, parts of UVA-wise, with a little bit of that thicker overcast trying to work through, but most of us remain in pretty nice shape. We're 73 Pikeville, 78 Prestonsburg. How about 80 Manchester and London, 81 Somerset, 82 Harlan Middlesboro, 83 in Monticello. So yeah, it is a little more like a pool or lake day out there. Most of us remain dry, but in the past little bit we've started to see a few downpours going up over Feds Creek, further down to the south and east now. Down 119 from Williamson as you head toward Pikeville, and a few more into portions of Dickinson County, or Buchanan County actually, as that continues to work to the east. And another downpour north of Tolby there along the Wolf and Breathitt County line, and another one on 1098 pushing into portions of Knott County. So we'll continue to see these little downpours try to work through the region during the evening. Most of us not in pretty good shape. As your forecast first through the next 12 hours, we'll continue to see those temperatures dropping off into the 60s as we head later on tonight. I don't think we're done, though, with the showers today, Steve. I'll break them all down in a few minutes.
Evan, thank you. The Federal Reserve wants to take a time out and take stock of the overall impact of its interest rate hikes on the United States economy. Karen Kaifa is in Washington with a look at the Fed's latest announcement today.
The Federal Reserve skipping a rate hike this month.
Looking ahead, nearly all committee participants view it as likely that some further rate increases will be appropriate this year.
The Fed started increasing its benchmark rate in March 2022, making borrowing more expensive to try to curb spending and inflation. The strategy has been working slowly. Data released by the federal government Tuesday pointed to consumer price inflation easing for the 11th straight month in May. And data released Wednesday by the Labor Department pointed to a deceleration in producer prices.
Basically, what the Fed's doing here is saying that we're moving in the right direction. We're going to take a little bit of a pause. We want to see if this medicine has worked. They're not saying their job is done.
Consumer prices were up 4% year over year, according to the May report. That's twice the Fed's target rate of 2%. And some sectors remain sticky, like housing for both homeowners and renters, and the cost of services like travel and hospitality. Meanwhile, inflation has dented the savings many Americans built during pandemic lockdowns, and some have turned to credit cards and other borrowing. The interest rate pause won't provide too much relief.
Those tend to be variable rates. So even a pause from the Fed means that your rates could be sticking at the highest that we've seen in a while.
The Fed's benchmark rate is at its highest level in almost 16 years.
People in Rome are wishing Pope Francis a quick recovery as the pontiff stays in the hospital following a 3-hour surgery to repair a hernia. Vatican leaders say his recovery from surgery was progressing normally, and he has begun physical therapy to help his breathing. Francis is expected to stay in Rome's Gemelli Hospital for at least all of this week. Audiences have been canceled until June 18th. Crowds gathered outside Milan's cathedral ahead of the funeral of former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi. Berlusconi's legacy, positive or negative, is being hotly debated among Italians as the nation prepares for a national day of mourning and a state funeral in Milan's Gothic-era Duomo Cathedral. Berlusconi died at the age of 86 on Monday in a Milan hospital. He was being treated for chronic leukemia. In the Mediterranean Sea, at least 59 migrants drowned today, and more were feared missing after their boat capsized and sank off Greece. That country's Coast Guard says 104 people were rescued, but it remained unclear how many were on board when the vessel went under. The shipwreck was the deadliest off Greece this year. Survivors arrived by ship to the town of Kalamata, where emergency workers provided medical care to migrants as they disembarked. In Japan, an 18-year-old soldier is accused of shooting and killing 2 instructors and injuring a third at a military training facility. Broadcaster NHK reports a man in his 50s and 2 in their 20s were taken to hospitals where 2 died. Shootings are extremely rare in Japan, where gun ownership is tightly regulated, and anyone seeking to own a gun must go through a rigorous vetting process. Coming up on First at 4, parts of the northwestern United States are now experiencing their own